If you were curious if the apes wear underwear under their armor, well, guess what? They definitely goes regimental.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. I am Todd. Sitting across from me, silent, is Sean.
Yes,
he
boy.
speaks.
Being a good boy.
But wondering about the truths of underwear wearing in the Planet of the Apes world. That's Richard. Happy Tuesday.
We do get a very brief butt shot. I don't know if you guys realize that.
A brief butt shot.
Yeah.
Well, I know the name of it.
I was about to say, damn it, there is the name of that, a brief butt shot.
We get ape ass,
Ape ass.
No Better Business Bureau here. It's a brief butt shot.
There you go. All right. I don't know that we can actually stretch that any further. Let's get into some butt moments. Someone tell me about Minute 82. Sean, would that be your job?
All right.
Okay.
As Minute 82, we start with a twitchy Ari and ends with Ari saying she's been...
Oh, I really was expecting more, but that's exactly it. All right, Minute 82, brief butt shotting through the world of Planet of the Apes.
Why have you come here?
To be with you.
A trade? Is that what you're proposing? Yourself for the humans? Even when you were a child, you took in stray humans. Your family indulged your every whim. Now look what you've become.
I've been...
As Minute 82, we have an Oberon's worth of apes and humans, 2 displaced pods worth of humans and apes, so many wild humans in Ape City, minus 2 gorillas. Humans on the loose and monkeys on the march.
Visually, you get about exactly what you would expect. Ari stands at the mouth of the tent as the 2 gorillas who brought her in leave, and they throw the shade. What do you call those? The drapes back. They leave
with the unnecessary ADR.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's very heavily done.
Why do we need that?
So Thade steps a little forward into his own tent as Ari circles.
Drapes.
Okay.
There
Ari circles around. Thade comes to her. Ari raises her hand up and kneels as Thade comes in. And at 34 seconds, we get one hairy nest egg of an ass. I mean,
seriously,
that is,
yeah.
Wow,
I was like, oh.
A little hairy onion.
Yeah, that is some seriously hairy ass. Thade circles around. He's looking down the entire time. Ari is on bent knee with the hand in the air. That's about the extent visually of what we get. There's some interesting ideas explored in this.
I just don't understand what her plan is.
But yeah, okay. So let's get to that. She comes. The first thing, why have you come here?
Yes.
And she throws the hand up to be with you.
So she can't fuck Davidson? So
Well,
she's
I mean,
fuck
that's
Thade?
what we talked about Monday, right? This idea that she just saw the writing on the wall in terms of Dana and Leo,
right?
And she's gone back to her old lover. Now, of course, the ploy is that she's trying to give herself up in order to save them, which he fully recognizes.
I know.
Not a line later.
She patting herself on the back very much if she thinks her life will give up all the goddamn humans. But anyways.
And also, There's so many things in here. It's a leap to, hey, I'm coming back. We've never established in this film before, outside of kind of weird comments, that these two were an item. It's never been 100% laid out. For this moment to work, there has to be that. It feels
like, yeah, I mean...
You can't have... Sean and I talk about it. You can't have Chekhov's gun if you're not willing to establish the gun is there first. This is that instance.
Well, he came to her room early on and was kind of coy, bouncing around, talking to her, right? There was that moment, but he was mostly just aggressive.
Yeah.
And then her friend also mentioned it to her, I think, at some point. Or was that a line in the script that I read that wasn't actually in the movie?
I think it might have been the script.
Because it feels like he was, somebody that's always been... dogging her heels, and instead of somebody that they've been together and broken up, or whatever. Yeah.
And so it's this leap that she comes in, and okay, so I like things about this moment because they're both great actors. They inhabit the moment as best they can. It's just a trade is what you're proposing. Is what? Because
can't she just say that?
At no point did she say, and at no point has she said anything where he could go, I know what you're doing. You're trying to distract me. That's what is supposed to be said, but no, she's not proposed a trade. She hasn't said shit.
Well, and that's when I was talking about her approach in the last minute when she comes in and she's being held by the guards and her head is down and she kind of circles around him with her head at an angle and then she kind of kneels and puts her hands up. And legit, if I were coming to an old lover, I would not necessarily be quite so submissive as I would be seductive.
Right.
And so this submission on her, particularly for such a strong character, feels very unusual.
Agreed.
I would not expect her to do that. I also, when we get to 17 seconds, when she's about to kneel and she brings her hand up, I thought the lighting choice, because you're normally the lighting person, I cannot stand how badly she is lit. I either need it to be a more dramatic shadow or I need it to be a little bit brighter on her face. Well, it looks like they forgot to light her.
What it looks like is an unmotivated light source. It's supposed to be. There's the flame,
the torch. Or
so it's okay. So it's correct with an underlight, but this is the second time I've seen them do this where you have a flame. So when we look at Thade, it's to his right, and it has to be correct. Should be yes, it's to her left. So we've got the lighting source correct. Here's my problem. Again, is what we had when they set out by the campfires. Flame flickers. And this is just a pop key down below. It's really bad. I'm glad you brought it up because I thought of it when I looked at it, I was like, it makes her makeup look terrible.
Yeah. It does. It's not...
If it were flickering, it wouldn't be that, but it's just a hit on her face. It's terrible.
I need the flicker.
Yeah.
I need it to be darker or lighter, one of the two. This weird, she looks like a bad Michael Jackson impersonator. Is what she looks like.
Okay, she does. I didn't thought of that, but it's very true.
Basically, we talked about early on. We talked about how smooth they make the females look. Apes' faces are. This is one that definitely kind of exposes her looking very odd.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, so I think that we can laugh about the hairy butt, but hey, that's nice attention to detail. How many times have we seen it before? In fact, we saw it in this film where some ape was sitting around and they didn't put any hair on their neck. Right? So we've seen that. So this is nice.
Clearly,
it's a little much.
His armor is pulled up and he's got his leggings are kind of pulled up, but it was just kind of unusual. I went ahead and gave this shot.
Mm-hmm.
I found it interesting that he kind of taps her hand with his hand.
Dismissive.
Yeah, a trade is what you're proposing as he kind of taps her hand, kind of not grabbing it but tapping it. The two of them do a great job. Just not fully thought out or something.
Yeah, I would not have a problem with a trade is what you're proposing. Had she proposed something, she's simply saying to be with you.
Yeah, that's it.
He needs to call her bullshit or something. He needs to be saying, "This is very convenient for you to be here saying these things to me." But instead, it's just that moment of tapping knuckles, and which I don't have a problem with. I think you and I've talked before about the very simian nature, and you'll see apes doing these kind of things. are you really out of this moment that much that you look seriously like somebody just beat you? And I'm talking to Sean.
This movie, just fucking, let's get done.
I know he's up against the daylight savings time, but I think last week when I had
I
my
was
bout
up
of
late last night too. Yeah.
when I had my bout of insomnia last week and I look like shit and Richard called you literally, I don't know that I've seen you that ass whipped.
I might be a little hungover. I don't know.
Okay.
I might have to grab a beer.
When he says, even when you were a child.
Okay,
saved
yeah.
them,
So that's okay.
You took in stray humans, and he goes on to
let's
say,
just dissect that.
Your family indulged your every whim.
Can
Now
we-
look what you become. To me, this would be a really, really interesting conversation if they were having a bigger conversation and not lines just being dropped. Like, I feel like
I agree.
this would be that moment where you're watching a play and you have like basically 10 minutes of two characters having an intense dialogue. This is what I want from this moment. I
It's
want
what it should be.
I want to hear this back and forth. When she comes to him specifically to say, they're going to get decimated. You cannot do this. And she goes, I will offer myself up.
Yes, she needs to make that
and then
sacrifice.
he comes in, basically begins to flirt with her as if he was her lover, and she starts to play along with that on some level, as if, okay, this is where we have to go with this, and then he rejects her for the ploy that she's putting off because of the humans over there, and why her lesson will never be learned.
And it's literally like they took all of that and just went from the bookend of, hi, here I am to fuck you, you're this, and we're done.
Yeah.
There's no build to it. There's no character
It
whatsoever.
would just be a great moment between two characters, particularly these two actors having that kind of.
The only problem with that, Richard, is it makes this movie a lot longer.
Stop.
Stop.
Don't help. All right, so let's dissect the illogic of you've always taken strays in ever since you were a kid or
Right.
whatever. So Chris Christopherson right now is 86 years old. So that means he would have been
Actually, today he is.
today is as of today, or as of whenever June 22nd. He was born June 22nd, 1936.
Okay.
There you go. So that means he was 63 when the movie was shot. So what is the life expectancy of humans on this Planet of the Apes that she's taking in strays, although we've only seen the two humans in the cage that they kept with her dad? If this whole thing with humans being smart and you show old humans just doesn't work. Estelle Warren should be like the oldest of the humans,
Sure.
and everybody younger. That way they're not living long. You keep them for a little bit, and because we have a dog. I say we as humans. You have a dog. They live, depending on the breed,
Sure.
8 years to 20 years
Sure,
at the end. You should be burning through humans at this rate instead of having a Chris Christopherson that's old and has a beard, and an Estelle Warren that's older.
Right.
When I say older in
Right.
regards to a younger child or stuff like that. I see no evidence of humans being kept as pets that turn over, or she has a whole cadre of them behind her. Just making them smart just is the downfall of.
It is.
this movie.
It's a very bad choice. And as you went through that, I started thinking it brought to mind Logan's Run, how they eventually get out, and it's a society of young people, and the shock is when they get out and there's one sole surviving person they find. He's an old man.
Yeah.
And they see, oh my God, look
You
at that.
can live to be longer.
Now that story, I'm not saying it fits in this world.
Yeah.
But that very thing, you can't have the totality of it in Logan's Run and make it work either. If you're going to say that these humans are expendable, that's exactly it. There are so many things wrong. The smartness, the age, the fact that they look so
Pretty
fucking clean.
So everybody shaved except for Chris Christopherson. Yeah.
Which, hey, again, Chris Christopherson, love him. But
That they can talk, but nobody's gone back to the freaking ship and wipe dirt off to look at it
Yeah,
and go, what's
yeah.
this? We can clearly
They can read English, but except for the dusty parts of English. Yeah.
we are asking a lot of this movie.
For what it was in the script, the
just be
moment
smart.
The moment where he says, "What are you here for? A trade? That's what you're proposing yourself for the humans." She doesn't submit herself until at the end of that. She was supposed to submit herself at the end of that conversation, where she's like, "Well, this is what I have to give up."
Right.
Right. And then he rejects her. Right. She's supposed to say, "Now look what you become," and he goes, "It's what you want, isn't it?" I will be with you. And Thade's supposed to go, I have no feelings for you now. So she wasn't supposed to do it at the beginning. She was supposed to do it at the end of the conversation, for what that's worth. Jesus. But I would have liked her to be the intelligent one in terms of proposing the trade first.
It's one of those scenes that isn't far off of where it's supposed to be. It's just literally that you've taken 2 or 3 main essential core elements from it, and therefore it can't work. I mean, imagine a comic book that you put in front of you, and all the panels are there, and they just say one thing, and it never happens. And then like 6 panels later, you're like, what? That's exactly what this is. These are empty panels.
Yeah.
We get a hairy butt. That at least makes everything okay. You know?
We get a hairy butt. We know that she's come back to kind of offer herself up. Again, we have Limbo, and Krull's just hanging outside with Atar.
Yeah,
I really feel
growling at each other.
I feel bad for these actors that they had to sit in makeup chairs. You know, doing this kind of thing probably takes you 3 to 4 hours a day, at least once they get
It's one of those things where it starts off with 5 hours a day and ends up with 2 hours.
Right, they get much better. The applications and whatnot. Still, giving that much time to prepare yourself to put yourself in these costumes, and this is all they get. They are not given much to work with.
I mean, Limbo's had 20 minutes of nothing. Yeah. Right. He's had to be in that costume for a while. Yeah, I don't have anything else about this minute.
Well, there's not a lot. You know, there's not. Period. If you look at it, there's visually not a lot. There is structurally, whatever, not a lot there at all.
Don't try to justify it.
I tried and I failed. So I guess that's kind of it. We'll be back tomorrow, maybe. Do we want to keep going?
Well, hey, you know, tomorrow's Hump Day. It's New Comic Book Day. Let's get to it. I'm ready for the sales.
When you have Hump Day 2 days after Daylight Savings Time, is it a good Hump Day or is it like I'm choring through this Hump Day?
Hey, I'm always for humping forward.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you. I literally was like trying to throw a softball. I knew one of you would take it, and you just won that day. All right, that is it. We will be back tomorrow. Everyone have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.